each other and suffered fallouts. And we're just gearing up to go back at it again, so I thought this was appropriate. Leyenda. Abel and Cain meet again after Abel's death. They were walking in the desert and knew each other from a distance, for both men were very tall. The brothers sat on the ground, made a fire, and ate. For a while they were untalkative, the way tired men can be after a long day working. This phone's terrible. In the sky, some still unnamed star appeared by the firelight. Cain made out the mark of the stone on Abel's forehead, dropped the food in his mouth, and asked to be forgiven for his crime. I no longer remember. Did you kill me, or was it I who killed you? Abel answered, here we are together again, just as we used to be. Now I know for sure you've forgiven me, said Cain, because to forget is to have forgiven. I'll try my best to forget too. Yes, said Abel, speaking slowly. You're right. As long as there's remorse, there's guilt. Thank you.
This is Audrey Lorne's Poetry is Not a Luxury, remixed with Pat Parker's poem I Have a Dream and my own words. Poetry is not a luxury. It is not only dream or vision, is the skeleton architecture of our lives, is the way we help give name to the nameless so it can be thought. It's a vital necessity of our existence, forms the quality of light within which we predicate our hopes and dreams toward survival and change. First made into language, then into idea, then into more tangible action. Pat Parker, I have a dream. No, not Martin's. In my dream, I can go into a public bathroom and not be shrieked at by ladies. In my dream, I can walk ghetto streets and not be beaten up by my brothers. I too have a dream. It's a simple dream. Myself, I too have dreams. Many dreams. Yes, one for Martin. Yes, one for Pat Parker. Yes, one for each of my black and brown and sometimes queer students who text, who message, who call, crying, post-pulse, post-election season, seeming to have opened season on their bodies. Post-Charleston church shooting, post another black body, blood, blooming red Rorschach, impression left on all of us who see it in whatever way we want. When my student, when I am afraid to dare speak, when we are all waiting for the next shooter, the next slaughter, the next trigger to be pulled on more legislation aimed at our bodies, all I can offer is a dream made poem, is my own story, is the ways we come into contact with one another. In the forefront of our move toward change, there is only our poetry to hint at possibility made real. Our poems formulate the implications of ourselves, what we feel within and dare make real, or bring into action into accordance with our fears, our hopes, our most cherished terrors, or within structures defined by profit, by linear power, by institutional dehumanization. Our feelings were not meant to survive. There are no new pains. We have felt them all already. We have hidden that fact in the same place where we have hidden our power. They lie in our dreams. And it is in our dreams that point the way to freedom. They are made realizable through our poems that give us strength and courage to see, to feel, to speak, and to dare.
Rico Rios, increíble. You should see this from my perspective, how full this room is, how wonderful that feels. I'm going to read three short things. I'm going to start by reading a shocking poem, one of America's foundational poems. This is the poem called The New Colossus. It's on the Statue of Liberty. If you have not read this in a while, you will be shocked. This is called The New Colossus. It's written by Emma Lazarus in 1883. Not like the brazen giant of Greek fame, with conquering limbs astride from land to land. Here, at our sea-washed sunset gates, shall stand a mighty woman with a torch, whose flame is the imprisoned lightning, and her name, Mother of Exiles. From her beacon hand glows worldwide welcome. Her mild eyes command the air-bridged harbor that twin cities frame. Keep, ancient lands, your storied pomp, cries she with silent lips. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed, to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. You'll note she talks about a golden door, not a golden wall. I'm going to read a poem about the border wall, about that idea. This was written for the visit of Presidente Vicente Fox when he came here, who has adamantly said he's not going to pay for that wall. Perhaps you've heard that. But I also want to read this for my father. My father was born in Mexico. He came to this country and he became a judge. That's been in the news lately. The integrity of my father. I'm going to read this as I read it first time it was presented. It is now inscribed at the border in Nogales, the Mariposa Crossing. It's called Borderlines, Líneas Fronterizas. A weight carried by two weighs only half as much. Un peso cargado por dos no pesa más que la mitad. The world on a map looks like the drawing of a cow in a butcher's shop. All those lines showing where to cut. El mundo en un mapa parece el dibujo de una vaca en la carnicería. Todas esas líneas mostrando dónde cortar. Pero ese dibujo de la vaca es también un rompecabezas, mostrando cómo todas las piezas extrañas caben muy bien juntas. But that drawing of a cow is also a jigsaw puzzle, showing just as much how very well all the strange parts fit together. La manera en que miramos el dibujo nos hace ver la diferencia. Which way we look at the drawing makes all the difference. Parecemos vivir en un mundo de mapas, pero en verdad vivimos en un mundo hecho no de papel ni de tinta, sino de gente. Esas líneas son nuestras vidas. We seem to live in a world of maps, but in truth we live in a world made not of paper and ink, but of people. Those lines are our lives. Juntos, demos vuelta al mapa hasta que veamos claramente. La frontera es lo que nos une, no lo que nos separa. Together, let us turn the map until we see clearly the border is what joins us, not what separates us. And I'm going to finish. I'd like to give you some national news. Resistance, we can as writers resist, but the next step is getting together, organizing, doing something. And 20 of the top arts organizations have gotten together and are starting a poetry coalition. And immigration is going to be its first year theme. And it's an exciting way to think about how resistance might move towards something, toward action. And action toward good result, not just result, but good result. Well, we don't always win. And as I've been thinking about what's coming this week, I don't know how to feel. And this next poem came from, I was trying to think about who the good guys are and who the bad guys are, and how do they all fit into my world. And it's getting confusing. This is a poem, just so ever so loosely, about bullying in all of its forms and uniforms that it might take. And when bullying becomes powerful, and when power becomes destructive. This is called When the Ghosts Stay. You have terror, and I have tears. In this cruel way, we are for each other. We are at war. You always win, but I do not go away. You shoot me again. Again, I do not go away. You shoot with bullets, but you have nothing else. I fight back. I shoot you with fragments of childhood where you played the hero. I shoot you with memories of your mother and your little sister Maritza. I shoot you with spring in the rolling mountains and the taste of plantain bananas and sugar. You do not fall down dead. You can kill me, where all I can do is hold up the mirror of remembering to you. The mirror of everything you have done. You set fire to me with gasoline. I set fire to you with the memory of your first love. You cut my hands off. I cut your hands off with the way you saw them disappear when he was diving into the warm water of the lake the summer of swimming with your brother. Do you remember the names of the left for dead? The damaged, the hounded, the hurt? Do you remember my name? Your fist is hard. My name is crying. You strike a match. My name is cringe. You lift your foot. My name is pain. You wake up. My name is closed eyes. Your smile mimics the size of the opening on the side of a head, a crude opening that a mean needle will stitch up tonight. Your arm laughs at me with its muscle. All this, all these tears you have made, this water you have found in the desert, all this blood you have drawn from the bodies of so many who needed it. You win. You have always won. All I can do is not go away. Not go away is my name. Thank you.
I'm Cynthia Hogue, and I've put together an assemblage, and Allison Hawthorne-Deming is going to read with me. She will be nice and Hughes. I want to thank Sally Ball for putting this together, and Alberto Rios for reminding us that we are not going to go away, and humanities and the arts and our literary heritage, which records that history and these feelings, are not going to go away. The first is a paragraph from the great African-American historian, Eric Foner. The time has come to reintroduce integration into our political vocabulary, not as a code for whites dictating to blacks or as colorblindness, a term appropriated from the civil rights movements by conservatives and made into an empty slogan, but as a vision of a nation transformed, one in which equality is a reality for all Americans. Democracy by Langston Hughes will be read by Allison and interspersed with revised excerpts from Asphodel, That Greeny Flower by William Carlos Williams, and I will read that.
Democracy will not come today, this year, nor ever, through compromise and fear.
I come, my sweet, to sing to you. My heart browses, thinking to bring you news of something that concerns you and concerns many.
I have as much right as the other fellow has to stand on my 2 feet and own the land.
Look at what passes for the news. You will not find truth there, but in despised poems.
I tire so of hearing people say, let things take their course, tomorrow is another day. I do not need my freedom when I'm dead. I cannot live on tomorrow's bread.
It is difficult to get the news from poems, yet men die miserably every day for lack of what is found there. Hear me out.
Freedom is a strong seed planted in a great need. I live here too. I want freedom just as you.
Dead power is everywhere among us, in the forest, chopping down the songs, at night in the industrial landscape, wasting and stiffening the new life, in the streets of the city, throwing away the day. We wanted something different for our people, not to find ourselves an old reactionary republic full of ghost fears, fears of death and the fears of birth. We want something else. Muriel Rukeyser, The Life of Poetry.
I do not need my freedom when I'm dead. I cannot live on tomorrow's bread. Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you all for being here and sharing this sense of community today. I'm going to read 3 pieces. First, a poem by Denise Levertov, one of our great poet activists who through the 60s, 70s, and 80s was one of the great voices for the anti-Vietnam War movement, for anti-nuclear proliferation and social justice. This is her poem, Making Peace. A voice from the dark called out, the poets must give us imagination of peace to oust the intense, familiar imagination of disaster. Peace, not only the absence of war, but peace like a poem is not there ahead of itself, can't be imagined before it is made, can't be known except in the words of its making, grammar of justice, syntax of mutual aid. A feeling towards it, dimly sensing a rhythm, is all we have until we begin to utter its metaphors, learning them as we speak. A line of peace might appear if we restructured the sentence our lives are making, revoked its reaffirmation of profit and power, questioned our needs, allowed long pauses. A cadence of peace might balance its weight on that different fulcrum. Peace, a presence, an energy field more intense than war, might pulse then, stanza by stanza, into the world. Each act of living, one of its words, each word a vibration of light, facets of the forming crystal. A very short passage from Barack Hussein Obama. We, the people, recognize that we have responsibilities as well as rights. Not that our destinies are bound together, that a freedom which only asks what's in it for me, a freedom without a commitment to others, a freedom without love or charity or duty or patriotism, is unworthy of our founding ideals and those who died in their defense. And finally, I'll read an excerpt from a piece that I wrote called Letter to America, which I wrote a few days after the election, that great destabilizing moment. We have seen language used to manipulate people, distort reality, deny facts, and betray our American ideals of liberty and justice. We need now to believe in the power of language to help us connect across our distances, express empathy, form new alliances, fuel our better natures, and live more fully the values we espouse. Surely, surprising acts of resistance will rise from the spirit of resilience and solidarity, energized by our grief. Maybe all the women who attend the Women's March next weekend should wear the hijab